Welcome to another show of Celebrate Life. My name is Gary Carolis, and I'm your host. The focus of this program is to introduce to Vermont the amazing lives people live. Everyone has a story to tell, and all stories are worth celebrating. If you would like to be a guest on the show, or you know someone who you think would be a good guest, and everyone is a good guest, please contact me at celebratelife0747@gmail.com. Now I'd like to introduce you to Brad Ferland. Welcome to the show, Brad.
Thanks, Gary. Good to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here, and we're here to celebrate your life.
Wow.
Yeah, how do you like that?
Has it gotten to that crest of that peak?
So, where would you like to start?
Well, I was born in the Mary Fletcher Hospital in Burlington, Vermont. That's my beginning.
Yep.
I was in there for about 7 days. I think my mother liked the accommodations. Was in the old building up there.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And then, of course, later in life, I would take my flexible flyer sled and slide down Mary Fletcher Hill.
Yes, that famous hill.
Yeah.
Were you a Burlington resident?
We were Burlington residents.
Yeah.
I think we lived on Adams Street when I was born in a duplex.
Yeah.
My dad had been at UVM, and then they were just really starting out. I have an older sister and an older brother, Stephen and Michelle. And Adams Street, I have memories of being there at 2 years old, very early stuff. Yeah.
That's a nice street, if I'm not, kind of south central of the city.
Yeah, totally. And then we actually moved out to Colchester. My dad was he was the beginnings of a stockbroker in the day, but he was also handy with tools, and he and another guy built a ranch house out on Marble Island Road.
Oh, wow.
Back when there was not too many houses. There was a little golf course, but it was quite spectacular to be out there.
Wow, I can imagine. So, I mean, the Mallett's Bay is your background from there, and yeah.
Yeah. It was, the early years for me were this house near the lake with the woods. It was it was very rural. My dad had built a sort of like this sloping sand pile for me for up into the woods. So I talk about it really being sort of the essence of serenity. For me, even though I had siblings and we had close friend neighbors, kids, we played together, but I spent hours and hours in that sandbox and pile.
Wow. Just
creating worlds and doing that. That was with nature, with, just my earliest bird was a catbird of all things, which is this thing that was sort of like you could see it and
hovers a little bit. Yeah,
it's around, but it's not around.
Right,
it's noisy, but it's quiet.
Right.
So that was sort of the early years, and going to the first and second grade in Colchester.
So that sounds like it was more than a sandbox. He really did something special for you.
Totally did. It was really a whole lot of sand going into the woods.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which meant that I could take, army men or marbles or tractors or anything and create whatever. It was really very special.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
Jeez. Huh. Tell me a little bit about your dad.
Well, he was very musical. He and his siblings all played instruments. He was a clarinetist. Played in the Vermont Symphony Orchestra when it was sort of volunteer, but they did concerts all around Vermont.
Yep.
He had been in the pre-Air Force before he even went to UVM, and then went to UVM, and he'd been in a Air Force band, And also he had an Opa band called the German Band where they dressed up in Lederhosen
Yep.
and played in Burlington. I remember going to Memorial Auditorium in the basement and watching them play parties there.
Goodness, that's amazing.
And in Stowe, obviously, because it was sort of the Oopapa
Right.
for Oktoberfest kind of thing. He was very, very outgoing, very charismatic. People. He was sort of the maternal and paternal part of the family. He was really so, and that is part of my story too. When we went, he was also got very depressed when I was young, and we went away to a family gathering with other families. He stayed home and he committed suicide on a weekend.
Sorry to hear that. Jeez.
So we went from the sort of the essence of serenity to
Devastation.
moving from Colchester into Burlington. We moved to Loomis Street to a little apartment.
Wow.
And it was in the day when suicide was really it was almost like this hush taboo.
Right.
It was in the newspapers. When I went to school the first day after he died, I went down and the lunch lady said something about his death and said, "How did he die?" And I was sort of in this, I was only 8 years old. I said, it was an accident or something. And she said, well, the Free Press said it was a suicide. So it was just the reality of,
Yeah. Wow.
not talking about things. My mother's edict was, we're going to grieve for these few days and then we're going to go back to normal. And there was no normal in me.
It doesn't quite work that way.
Yeah.
That was her hope that things could get,
Yeah, she was, to her credit, she was just protecting what she knew, and she had lost a husband, and
wow.
it wasn't much money. My grandparents were very influential in assisting us with, just eating and, stuff like that.
Were they local as well?
They were Waterbury.
Okay.
They were French Canadian from my grandmother from Montreal area and my grandfather from north of Montreal, very small town. He became a psychiatrist, was in Trenton, New Jersey, doing residency, and then came to Waterbury in the late 20s.
Wow.
And was in Waterbury until he retired around, the early 60s.
Okay. Was he at the state hospital there?
Lived there.
Lived there. Okay.
They had a state-owned house on the hospital ground.
Yep.
So I was, my early life was at Waterbury all the time.
Unbelievable.
When there was about a 1,600 patient population. It was a farm.
Yeah.
I had real free run of things. It was our normal, so I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't even have a concept of the fact that it was a state mental institution.
Exactly. So did you run around the tunnels at all down there?
I didn't get into the tunnels that I remember anyway, but I did. My grandfather's office was right in one of the old buildings, and I would go in there, and of course there were all the locked doors, but when you would walk down the halls, the patients' rooms were tiny with a desk and a lamp or a light. It was really in a cot, essentially.
Yeah.
And there were these buildings with large screen porches. I remember hearing screaming, and there was an eeriness about it too. And then there was a telephone operator there who worked the circuit board. It was, and Waterbury was. We got all our clothing at Luce's store in Waterbury. It was a department store. I got my comic books at the pharmacy.
Right.
All of that stuff.
Wow.
My grandparents were very generous about that.
Wow. Wow. So that's a lot for a little kid.
Yeah.
It was going from Colchester to Loomis Street, and then we moved to Mansfield Avenue. We moved a lot. My mother, would
we did move a lot. So it was always acclimating to something.
Yeah.
And also, really, I didn't have much navigational compass. I think I just, didn't have great direction.
Yeah. I was going to ask if you had some anchor there. Your mom probably was clearly there for you, but did you have your grandfather? Sounds like maybe a little bit, but
yeah.
But you felt like you were pretty on your own.
Yeah. I mean, we all grew up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I think my mother was pretty removed. She went back to UVM, to her credit, but we were alone a lot. So she was doing her world. Like I said, my dad was really more the paternal and maternal part. The thing that I really appreciate the most, not the most, but about him, he established the whole foundation of love for me. He was fundamentally a caregiver, and so that I cherish so much. And it really was a gift that carried on. I had children, obviously later in life, and to have the foundation of love early on, I think is hugely important.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And so then, as early as, I'm trying to think, Loomis Street, I had paper routes. I started a paper route in Burlington when I was 10, which was a year earlier than you're supposed to, but I took over my brother's route. So I was, it was the day where you carried 60 papers, and I could barely walk in the beginning as this tiny penguin trying to get up Loomis Street. And
like the bag strapped over your shoulder.
Killing your shoulders. Folding them, throwing them, hoping they make the porch, that kind of thing. There was, alcohol was definitely part of the family and the social life of my parents. They starting out early, my dad was a sailor, so we got to sort of be involved with sailing and swimming, and they had their cocktail parties, which was sort of the term of the day.
Yep.
So alcohol was always around. I don't regard my dad as an alcoholic, but alcohol was always around.
Sure.
So I got an early exposure to alcohol, which did carry in, and we of course talk about that, carry into me being a full-fledged alcoholic. But it was really my tool, right? Of we didn't get much guidance on my father's death, and I don't use that as a excuse for my drinking, right?
Right.
I think I was made to be an alcoholic. I think that was just
it's one of those things.
Yeah,
right.
one of those things. But I loved alcohol. And in the early days of Burlington, first on my paper routes, the UVM students, instead of a tip, I would ask them, they would get me these jug wine, red wines.
Oh my God. So
it was still in junior high school, right?
Jeez.
We'd take them up to the UVM games, the hockey games. We'd hide it in a bag under the bleachers. We'd go down and drink and then come up and watch hockey,
Wow.
So, and then the Burlington Church Street bars were readily serving.
Underage.
I was 15, 16, drinking in,
Wow.
several bars.
Yeah.
Just was the way it was back then. So
how did that interact with high school and you and the things that you did in high school?
yeah, so in a number of ways, I ran cross country. We went from Burlington to South Burlington for my sophomore year. My mother couldn't afford the house we were in, so we moved into a condo. So I had this sort of social break from my Burlington world to go to South Burlington. So I was a new kid. In the fall, which would have been when we go into school, they said there's a meeting for cross-country running at 3 o'clock today. And my brother had run at BFA or BHS in Burlington.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, well, maybe I should check out the meeting. So I joined the cross-country team and ran, and actually was a pretty good runner. And so that started part of a social life at South Burlington with my teammates. There were other people I got to know. I was a new kid, and new kids, there's an attraction to figure out who they are. Right.
Exactly.
But I don't know if I ever felt like I belonged, but I always tried to belong.
Makes sense.
And then the bars became part of my world, you know, going down. My mother was drinking quite a bit and in those days, and would actually be, you know, I could come home and she would be sound asleep. So the accountability was pretty low. So I had this freedom that was unstructured, and I really was off to the races in terms of drinking.
Yeah. And its impact in high school, I mean, like going out were you able to continue it?
Yeah, I played tennis, and I was a good tennis player. We were state champions a couple of years in a row, and our cross-country team was good. I wasn't getting thrown off a team because of drinking. We weren't drinking, you know, in a way that, and it was a different time back then too.
Right.
In fact, our cross-country coach was part of the Air Guard, and he brought Coors beer back from Colorado on a.
Oh my goodness!
And we had it at a celebration party.
Wow.
So that
is a different day.
Doesn't happen now.
No, it doesn't happen. When did you get a sense that you had a problem with alcohol?
Really early on.
Yeah?
Yeah. I would journal that.
Okay.
Even at 18, like, got to do something about your drinking. I knew that I needed it. I was drinking, you know, primarily I was just drinking beer then, but it was, you know, maybe 1 quart wasn't enough, and then need 2 quarts or whatever it was.
Right.
When I was a horrible student, I graduated. I didn't really take off in high school until my senior year, where I actually was getting A's and B's. I did pretty good in senior year, but I haphazardly applied to UVM, but my grades were bad. I did it all myself. My application must have looked like a disaster. And I got this horrible letter in the mail that, you know, your application's been declined.
That's tough.
I was working for the ferry company summers when I was in high school, and then started working full-time right after I graduated. So that was at least, and then I moved out from living with my mother 2 weeks after I graduated. So I got rented a room on Isham Street on the 3rd floor for minimal amount of money, and worked, drank, you know.
Yep.
Went that way.
And when did it all fall apart, or when did that routine get thrown out the window?
Yeah, so it fell apart many times.
Yes.
It didn't stop me from drinking for a long time. When I was working for the ferry company, I was about 2 years into it. The owner of the ferry company, Ray Pecor, took me out to lunch. He said, in essence, I think you're spinning your wheel here. I'm going to give you our first scholarship to go to college if you want to apply to Champlain College.
Wow.
Put some money towards it. I applied to Champlain College. I got accepted and did a business management program. Still drinking, still going to class, hungover, but did okay at Champlain. Graduated, and then I moved up to Franklin County, and thinking temporarily. I didn't really know still no compass, right?
Right.
I got a job at Nate's, which people might remember. It was a clothing store.
On Church Street.
Church Street, St. Albans,
Oh, really?
St. Johnsbury, and in Montpelier.
Oh.
So it was a family
business.
and it was like an MBA course in retail. They were really great to me. I worked there for 2.5 years, and then I got offered a job to work for the St. Albans Messenger, primarily in sales, but part of the negotiation of taking the job, I asked if I could write a weekly column. And Emerson Lynn, who was the editor, agreed to that. So I was on the editorial page every Tuesday with a column and my picture.
Really?
So for 4.5 years, I wrote a weekly column. So I had wanted, writing was very important to me. And I'd gotten to, I was in this first getting to Franklin County, I lived in this farmhouse in Fairfield. And I had a typewriter, and I was about to write the great American novel, except there was nothing in me, right? I was 22 years old. I was looking out at this beautiful pasture, cows, foliage, beauty, and I'm like, not much
nothing
there.
in there yet.
Yeah. So I was able.
Yeah. So that sounds like that's the first time you were able to express yourself through that column.
Yeah.
That's a shift for sure.
Totally. And I had 100% freedom to write on anything I wanted. So I wrote about personal life. I wrote about journey. I wrote about anything and everything. Some things just made up amusement-wise. Some things on issues going on, whatever. But they were so generous about it. But obviously, I got a lot of feedback. People,
I was gonna ask you.
In the community knew me, and I was selling advertising, taking pictures, everything you do in a newspaper. Occasionally doing, feature type articles. Not much, right? But some. Maybe when the editorial side didn't want to do with a story, about the tent raising revival religious thing. So.
We're still drinking during this time.
Still drinking.
Okay.
Yeah, drinking. Went from the Burlington bar scene to the St. Albans bar scene, and then Montreal. They actually serve alcohol up there. People didn't know that. So we could drink across the border after everything goes down in St. Albans.
Oh, wow.
And I was going through all the trepidations of, relationship problems, marriage problems, financial problems, getting by in terms of, showing up to work and being successful in routine, but still looking in the mirror in the morning and going, oh my God, you gotta do something about this. And after 4.5 years, I left the Messenger and started doing consulting. And I was lucky enough to get a fairly decent account in the very beginning that paid bills and more.
Consulting what? What were you consulting?
I was doing business consulting to begin with.
All right.
But then I was asked to do a political Senate race in Franklin County. And I knew nothing about it, but I just treated it like a retail product. And in those days, for a Senate race, we spent $7,000 on a race with cable TV, with newspaper, with radio, and with, newspaper kind of thing.
Yeah.
And took this sort of unknown county person, and he won.
Wow.
Changed the majority of the Senate
Wow.
to 16-14
Wow.
over somebody who everybody thought was going to win. So it haphazardly boosted me into political marketing.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
There was nothing brilliant about me. It was selling hamburger.
Being a consultant usually means you're an expert at something. I mean, you can't fool a customer.
Right.
So there's a part of you, even back then, that had a little chutzpah and a sense of confidence about yourself
Yeah, I
to
think
go out there like that.
I've been motivated for years. I've been doing this for years now. I love Vermont.
Yeah.
And I feel like to work with people who run for office and get into office, I get to try to make a difference, right? Try to guide them on message and
Yep.
things that are important to Vermont.
Yeah.
In non-political clients, I've had to learn things that I knew nothing about. I worked with Champlain Water District years ago. They do all the water supply for Chittenden County.
Yep.
They were being challenged on monochloramine treatment, which is a secondary. I not only did I not know what a monochloramine was, I couldn't spell it. I had no idea what it did. You know. But I did trust the experts that this treatment was the best for the residents of Vermont. This was an award-winning, Champlain Water District was renowned for its excellence. So what we were able to do was to do what's best in marketing, and that is to tell the true story.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And when you tell a true story and things are, get communicated well, then you have success.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So-
right. But that 25-year-old consultant, that's impressive.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now and as we move along in your life story, you've done a lot of neat things and accomplished a whole lot. But that kid there, that was still a kid.
Yeah.
There's,
I learned. It was
Yeah,
learn on the
yeah,
go
yeah.
and try to be intuitive, I guess. And the person that I helped get elected to Senate was a county forester. So just a real caring guy. And, to be honest, I don't care about politics per se. I hate party. I hate all of them.
yeah, yeah.
What I do care about is, Vermont and people and how we live and how we maintain, kind of thing.
Yeah. So you've continued that work till today, working with different politicians and
Still do.
That's
Yeah.
great.
I'm very behind the scenes. I'm sort of like a background guidance person. I don't manage campaigns
Yeah.
so much. I just kind of help out. I'm a helper boy.
It's a very important role in a campaign, though.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. All right, so let's go back to those. You left the St. Albans paper,
Yeah.
started your own consulting business.
Yeah.
It morphed into some political work as well as business management.
Yeah.
And where did?
So the drinking. I was working with a lot of good clients, and people were a lot of my clients didn't know I drank a lot. It's like the miracle of alcoholism that you can hide it, sort of.
So you're right. Yep.
You can't hide it from yourself, but
Right.
you can hide it from others. But I was getting into a depressive world myself. I was drinking too much. Relationships were failing.
Yeah.
I had my wife at the time was doing sales and traveling, and I went to Boston to pick her up in the fall. I was often, my depression, I had sort of annual fall depression, which sort of lined up with my dad's suicide. And I didn't even know that. I couldn't even self-identify that. But then went to pick her up in Boston. My brother and his wife lived in the Boston area. I was pretty drunk driving to pick her up. I had been drinking, for days, and got there, picked her up, and she announced there that the marriage was over. So it was a long trip back to St. Albans. And I was seriously suicidal. I had I looked for a handgun that I had in a closet of ours and couldn't find it. I thought it was like right there and couldn't find it. I actually called a suicide hotline. A really nice guy in St. Albans talked to me for about an hour, and I went to bed. The next day, my ex-wife essentially moved out, and extraordinarily, as alcoholics are, 2 days later, I went down to Brattleboro for a business meeting. You know, my whole life was collapsing, but I drove down to be at this meeting, checked into a hotel, and went to a recovery meeting.
Really?
Yep. And in this recovery meeting, somebody was there that I knew. It was an extraordinary story, and they offered to help me.
Wow.
And that was the last time that I drank.
Wow.
Yeah.
At Brattleboro? You were in Brattleboro?
It was in Brattleboro.
Brattleboro.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I went to a recovery meeting in Brattleboro, and then I went to one the next night in Putney, and then I went the next night in South Burlington.
Wow.
And it was the beginning of the journey. And I had tried like a year before, I had tried to stop drinking. I called Act One from St. Albans, which was the detox.
Right.
And on a Tuesday, and said that I wanted to check in. I was totally drunk, right? And they had a bet on Friday, so I drank as heavily as I possibly could. And I was driven down there on Friday. They checked me in. I was at 3.3 alcohol content.
Oh.
But I felt fine. I felt pretty normal.
Okay.
So they said, why don't you lay down on a cot here? And I laid down on a cot for a bit, and then I decided that maybe this wasn't the best accommodations in the world for me. And I got up from the cot, came out of the room, went to the front, and said, I don't want to be here anymore. And they said, well, you have to. You sort of did a contract with us.
Right.
And I said, I don't want to stay. And they said, well, if you go out, then the police will be involved. I said, well, whatever. So I walked out the front door. 2 Burlington policemen meet me, handcuff me, throw me in the back of the cruiser, and take me over to the correctional center for the night. And that wasn't the best accommodations either.
No, it wasn't. You couldn't walk away from that one.
No. So I was there in detox for the night, and the next morning I went back to Act One because no one really wanted me anywhere else, right? There was nobody was welcoming me any particular place. So I did that. It gave me a beginning of the journey. After about 3 months, I started drinking for about 9 months, and that's when the occurrence happened. And
so you just had lost your marriage.
Yep.
You went to a business meeting.
Yep.
And then you met someone with a handout that basically said, I'm here for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Said, you'll do. And that person said to me that night over coffee and a cheesecake or something, said, I promise you things will get better. And I was like, I have no idea what you're saying. I don't think I believe it, but I got nothing else.
Right. Wow.
So I'll follow the direction. I was lucky.
Yeah.
It was really, and this person had not been to a recovery meeting, to this recovery meeting for months and months and months.
Oh my goodness.
It was halfway through the meeting that he drove by, decided to park, came in and saw me, and like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what are you doing here?
So he knew you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And that,
Wow.
I mean, it's just a miracle.
Wow.
Right? It's
synchronicity.
in Brattleboro.
Yeah, in Brattleboro.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I feel very grateful that, and part of my story, I would say, really is that I do believe in the universe. I believe the universe provides so much for us that we can get gifts if we're open to them.
That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
If we're open to them.
Yeah.
some gifts come right by and come right past. Yep. Didn't see it. Wasn't even aware of it.
Right.
Yep.
Or don't even care. Or
Don't even care. Right.
And we now live up. We're in St. Albans. I have a 16-year-old daughter who still lives with me. We have sheep. We have dogs. 2 Norwegian Elkhounds. We have that serenity, that is so important. We're near the lake. But things present themselves. If I walk we're near Kilcare State Park. If I walk, like even the other night, it was blowing like crazy, walk out there and just the waves crashing on the shore, the ice making almost like a symphonic sound. All of those things. And, my daughter plays clarinet now.
Is that right?
And is quite good.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I can play clarinet. So we have my dad's clarinet that went from the 40s or 50s probably to me to play in band, and to have a piece of him.
That's wonderful.
And then she took it up and sort of carries that through. It's an amazing miracle.
It is an amazing. So life from that Brattleboro to today has been, just reading your story a little bit, rich in diverse things that you do and accomplishments. We haven't talked about the radio program, your writing. You're quite an accomplished writer. Talk a little bit about what this. It's almost like a rebirth for me listening to you from this point forward.
Yeah. So it's the universe once again, right? Because left to my own devices, I don't know what I'm doing at all. No idea.
I don't know about that.
So I was really lucky to, first of all, having 2 kids was a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a miracle for a major reason, and that's love.
Mm-hmm.
For me anyway, to completely understand what unconditional love is, it's to be at a hospital with a 5-day-old baby and at the front door and looking around and going, they're going to let us take this baby out of here. Are you kidding me? And yet they do, right?
Yeah.
It happens every day. And I absolutely love being a dad. It's the greatest gift of anything I could possibly do. And I go back, I credit my dad for being a loving dad, right?
Yep.
He had his own struggles. I had to navigate that for years and years with alcohol.
Yep.
I got to really do, when you look at death, of unexpected death, like suicide and stuff, for me it was a journey of putting puzzle pieces together.
Right.
Right? So even going back to where our house was in Mallets Bay, he picked that spot. The lake, Mount Mansfield and Campbell's Hump off into the distance, rural nature, raspberry bushes, catbirds, that kind of thing. So I got the exposure to it, and then having kids and drinking to an extent with my son until he was about 8, and then I stopped. That's, fortunately. And my daughter has never seen me drink. But then it's growing up. When you stop drinking, you have to start growing up. And I had quested for growth, even when I was drinking. And it was so frustrating to drink but quest for growth because I just couldn't get above a plateau. I would be flattening out.
Right.
So this miracle of social media, it's so ridiculously crazy, but I started doing little muse writing on social media. But it became really cathartic for me, right? But then the benefit was that people were kind enough to, go, hey, I like that, or that reminds me of me. If I wrote about sledding on the Mary Fletcher Hill, people, oh yeah, I remember doing that.
Exactly.
The ups and downs and the metaphors of the way life is. You know?
Yes.
And then delving more into opening up the topic of suicide, opening up the topic of depression, opening up the topic of alcoholism. You know, the things that were taboo, that weren't supposed to be talked about.
Right.
I didn't care.
Right.
I really didn't care. I wanted to put it out there. I put it out there for me because it was helping me grow.
Right.
And then by doing the muses, I started with beginning with very short pieces, which meant they had to be more, they had to have a lot in a little. And I found that was really kind of a special way to write, because then it opened up the imagination for others to take it from this very seed.
Yes.
And then as time went on, you know, as we did more, when as you and I talked off air, I climbed Mount Elmore on full moons.
Yes.
Been doing that for 5 years plus, year round. I started journaling that on Facebook a little bit, so that took a little bit more.
Yes.
And that was the same kind of thing. It wasn't my catbird, but hermit thrush, the Vermont bird, state bird, is prevalent up there.
Wow.
So the beginning of the hike, you hear this beautiful sound of the hermit thrush. And I see them from time to time, even at the top, very top on a branch.
Wow.
Little hermit thrush.
Wow.
I climb through it, all conditions. And it really becomes, in some respects, it becomes a metaphor for faith, right? I'm going up to see the moon. The moon may be visible, it may not be visible. It doesn't really matter, because as I'm hiking along, I'm looking at how a birch has fallen, or a spruce, or how the trail is different, what the cycle is of things blooming, you know, seasonally along the way that flower a certain way.
Yeah.
The mushroom that's so rare, that's vibrant orange in the distance, that I walk over to, and it's all on a decayed trunk.
Wow.
So I get to start talking, you know, sort of writing about those things, and then also our farm life. We had this beautiful experience with my daughter and I. Got our first 3 sheep. We had sheep sat in Elmore, Vermont, and I saw this serenity with the sheep and how beautiful it was, and kind of bringing them up to pasture and bringing them back to the barn and feeding them and watching them in the pasture just existing. It was, so wanted to become a sheep farmer. We're in this old farmhouse. My daughter and I built this whole barn area to get our first 3 sheep.
Wow.
And then on the anniversary of my dad's suicide, we got in the car. It was the beginning of COVID. We had heard about a sheep in Putney, Vermont, who was available for purchase, who we might be able to breed. So we went to Putney, beautiful fall day, sort of the fall day that my dad died on. It was extraordinarily nice weather when he died, which shows, you know, the contrast of the inside versus the outside.
Right.
And so we get to this rural Putney farm. It's we don't even know where we are. And the shepherd said to my daughter, Clove is the name of the sheep we were looking for. She's over there with about 20, 25 sheep in the pasture. You can't get too close because it'll frighten them, because you're strangers. But walk across the meadow a little bit, and I'll try to point her out.
Okay.
So Chelsea, she goes across, she kind of squats down, and one sheep leaves the group and walks over to Chelsea.
No. And it's Clover.
And it's Clove.
Oh my God.
And the shepherd and I are going, what is happening? It was amazing.
Wow.
So we go, well, we'll take her.
Yeah.
We left her there, and we had her bred. So she was there for about 3 weeks with a ram, bred. Bring her back to St. Albans, put her in the barn with our other 3. And in March, Chelsea comes running in the house. She goes, there's a lamb on the ground, right? So we go out, and this little lamb, 4-pound lamb, has been born. Clove is still laboring. our neighbors who come over and everybody's all hands on deck. We had prepared well, but we didn't,
Yeah.
An hour later, the second lamb is born.
Wow.
Same kind of thing. First it's a little lethargic, and then and then Clove is still laboring, and still laboring, and an hour and 2 hours, and we call the vet, and the vet has us do some things to try to figure it out, and then finally this third lamb drops out. It's pretty bit. It's not going to make it, but we had prepared for that. We take a tube and colostrum from Clove, and we tube her into her stomach, and we revive her.
Oh my!
So we have this. Pipes is her name, and she just was vibrant after getting the colostrum.
Wow.
So that evening, I'm kind of marking down the 3 lambs, about when they were born and stuff, and sort of documenting what happened. And then I look at the date, and they were all born on my dad's birthday.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So
there you go. There.
It was just this amazing sort of like the universe provides.
Wow.
Right? So
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you went down the day he committed suicide.
Yep.
To get Clove.
Yep.
And then the day they're born was your dad's birthday.
Yep.
Wow. That's
quite a gift.
It's quite a gift.
And Clove coming over to
yes, and coming over that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was just great.
Wow.
So I really feel
Beautiful
like
story.
there's, when we ask for angels, it sounds like a funny thing, but when we ask for angels, they're there, in some form of the universe. You don't have to have a structured belief system.
Right.
You just have to look up at a tree or at the moon or whatever it is.
Be open to what, like earlier we said, be open to whatever the universe is going to give you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Now, when you climb Mount Elmore, you've been doing it for 5.5 years now, or whatever. You also take some beautiful pictures. So your artistic talent goes beyond the written word as well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So the St. Albans Messenger was great, right? The publisher, the very first thing said, you need to go out and buy a Canon AE1 camera. You need to buy it, not me.
Okay.
So I went out and spent, $300 on a Canon AE1 camera. We used black and white film. We shot pictures all the time, right? All the time. So once again, I didn't even know that I was learning something, but I was learning something.
Yeah.
I was writing my column, so I was learning the style of writing. I was taking pictures. I was communicating with lots of people on a day-to-day basis. And then, the advent of the cell phone, they have these beautiful cameras.
Oh, yeah, right.
I just take pictures with my cell phone, and
Wow.
they're there. And, for us with our farm, a lot of pictures are taken in early morning because the light and the sun rises are beautiful. And then in the early evening, there's that magic light that comes for a half an hour or something.
Right.
And then when I climb Elmore, when I can, most of the time I can climb the fire tower. That's why one of the reasons I climb fire tower is because I'm actually closer to the moon, so a better vantage point.
Exactly.
Right? But on the fire tower on a full moon night, if it's around the time of sunset, you can be at the top of the fire tower and look at the sunset on the Stowe side.
Wow.
And you can look at the moon rising over Lake Elmore and the mountains to the east.
Wow.
So it's just this surround sound of beauty.
Wow.
And it happens only some of the time, right? I've been up there in the worst blizzards. I've been up there, rained so hard I couldn't even see you from here.
Wow.
With my dogs sometimes, with one dog sometimes, depending on the danger of the climb. The ice can be horrendous. But always, and I'm always safe. I bring a lot of equipment. I was a Boy Scout. I've hiked my whole life. I have gotten to almost the top and pondered for 10 minutes about whether I can get to the fire tower or not.
Wow.
And gone, No, I guess not this time.
Wow. Yeah, right.
Even though I want to.
Was there in starting that whole climb, what was going through your head about doing that? Was it, when you started, did you say, I'm going to do this every month, or
No.
it just became?
Yeah, I love the Sunset Ridge Trail on Mount Mansfield. It's a beautiful open ridge trail that goes to the top,
Yep.
but it's a rigorous long climb.
Yep, yep.
I had this sort of romantic idea of climbing a mountain and seeing the moon, the full moon.
Mm-hmm.
So Elmore offered that as an alternative. It's a little far from our house, but
Yeah.
it was doable.
Yep.
So I did it and then repeated it the next month, and then it was like just something. It was still for me, right? I don't know if it's a selfish gesture, but it was cathartic for me
Yep.
to stick to something,
Mm-hmm.
plan it out, stick to it, and go hike it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Even and once in a while, I haven't been able to do it. I had COVID during, at one point, I didn't climb.
Yeah.
I had mono. I didn't climb.
Yeah.
I didn't go up. It was like 0, and it was
Ugh.
just horrendous winds. I would have liked to have done it, but I just didn't have the energy, and
Yeah. That's dangerous.
yeah,
Yeah.
can be. And there's nobody up there.
Yeah.
But I've walked down people over the years that are totally unprepared. I dug a guy out who went up there on a snowmobile and buried his snowmobile. He could barely walk.
Oh my God.
And it's like I started trying to lift his snowmobile front, and I went, this isn't too much heavier than one of our sheep, right? And so I slowly moved his snowmobile around to face down the mountain.
Wow.
He got it started and went zooming down.
Wow.
So it's always an adventure.
Wow.
And and that's the thing, you don't know what it will be.
Yeah. It's almost like a meditation of sorts, If you do the same thing,
Yeah.
it's going to be different every time, but you get deeper and deeper into that meditation. Yeah.
Yeah. We watched the eclipse from St. Albans, which, the big eclipse. And during that morning, a barred owl was calling on the west shore of St. Albans. And I love barred owls.
Yes.
And watched the eclipse. And when I climbed Elmore, barred owls, occasionally I hear them too.
Wow.
So it's nature talking to
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
It sounds a little crazy now that I'm saying it out loud, but
No, it's... So another part of your creative genius over there is Travels with Charlie.
yeah.
And talk about that a little bit.
Well, we created Travels with Charlie it was in this divisive world, right? And Charlie Papillo had just finished his radio career at WVMT.
Right.
And I had breakfast with him and had this idea of having him interview two people at once who were diametrically opposed philosophically on whatever it was.
Wow.
And having them have a discussion and see if maybe they weren't closer than they thought. And we would go out and film in all sorts of bizarre places. My favorite was in Elmore, excuse me, where they had just banned plastic bags in grocery stores. Mm-hmm. So we dressed Charlie up in a plastic bag, had him come out of Elmore, fully underwater, like a swamp monster, walk into the Elmore store, and Warren Miller, the owner, was at the counter. He goes, hey, don't you know, no plastic bags. So we would always have fun in the beginning, and then we would go to our guests, and Charlie would interview them. So we did about 40 episodes.
Wow.
We did them all over the state. Like I said, we did them on the tower in Montpelier. We had Charlie dressed up in a suit of armor. We did it on a school bus. We had the governor in an old house. We did it in black and white. Governor Phil Scott did. Yep. We had 50,000 views on that.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So we called it edutainment.
Edutainment.
To try to get people to engage in something and see that, you know, there's so much angst out there that is totally unnecessary. There are serious issues, of course, but when we just concentrate on things that aren't going to matter over time, then we're losing something. We're losing the humanity part of life and stuff. So that was what Travels with Charlie was.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So what have we missed in your life that we want to celebrate here?
Well, I've been able to do a radio show the last 3 years, which has been a real gift because I interview tons of people every week for 2 hours.
That's great.
I get to pick the guests, and just it's the same kind of thing. It's journey, and so I am just grateful for that. It's musicians, it's writers, it's politicians, it's military, it's humanitarians, it's healthcare, it's whatever.
That's great.
And really, it's about showing people that a lot of times when in the interview, where did you come from? Where did you go?
Right.
And what were the, you know, like you had asked about role models, who helped you along the way?
Yes.
How did you get beyond, did the tree, did the apple fall down below the tree, or did it roll away as fast as it could? Kind of thing. And I think that what my, you know, when I grow up kind of hope is for me is that I'll keep doing my writing. I'll get have a book or two out that will talk about journey. For me, it'll talk about alcoholism, talk about suicide, talk about being in a place where it doesn't seem like there's any hope, and taking it to a place where there is hope. And it really is to say to people that for me or for anyone, you can get your sand pile back, right?
Yes.
You can get the serenity.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah.
Don't ever give up.
Yeah. That's a powerful message. And I hope you talk about wonder too, because I have a sense that you have a strong sense of wonder about life, and it's allowed you to go in these different directions and find these gold nuggets hidden all over the place.
It's probably perhaps to the fact that I've had no direction, right? When you wander aimlessly, maybe that's the luck of it. And it's, you know, once again, I think that when I feel like I'm unable to do things, I think I get guided. That's a beautiful thing. So I'm
That's
grateful
great.
for that.
That's wonderful. Well, two things. One is, what's in the future here? Do you have ideas of things you want to do that you haven't done yet?
I think getting some books out.
Yeah.
I've got a lot written. I've just got to get them organized and get them published. And then what I really would like to do is be out and be talking to audiences about my writing and about my journey.
That's great.
And just hopefully showing people that, you know, if I had stayed in sort of my early years of lost and abandonment, none of all this beautiful stuff could have happened.
Exactly.
So you can get out of almost anything and get to something much better.
I have that image of you at the typewriter as a young kid and not sure what to write about. But today, that same Brad with that typewriter will have a ton of things to write about.
Yeah. One thing I learned at the Messenger when I was is on Monday night I'd sit on deadline for the Tuesday edition and wouldn't have any idea what I was going to write about. And something would happen. Words would come that I did not even know. Some story would come. And that happens now. It's really, I'm grateful for that. When I write, I don't necessarily know where it's going to go, but it goes.
Yeah.
It goes. And maybe it's because I'm inspired because I went out on the barn and I watched a lamb be built or birthed,
Yeah.
or fire tower, whatever it is.
Right,
You know? It's
whatever
just-
it is, yes.
There's all these things, if we're open to them, like
If
we
we're open
started
to
the
them.
show.
Exactly. Any last quote that you want to share with the audience, or something, a message? I mean, you've given some powerful messages already about life.
I think that love is the absolute perfect guider of anything that I can think of. If we love without fear, if we go, even if I'm going to have my heart broken, even if I love,
Right.
I want to be the best musician in the world, I'd love to be that, it doesn't quite happen.
Yep.
If we do love without fear, we grow to a place that is beyond belief.
Yeah. That's absolutely powerful. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you
Thanks for celebrating your life with us.
Thanks for the opportunity. It's great.